Hey guys, it's Gracie here, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can systemize your Kindle publishing business. And so I had gotten a lot of feedback and a lot of response on my last video on how I was able to create over $180,000 with Kindle publishing. And mainly what people were asking and wanted to know was what was the business structures that I had in place and how did I keep everything organized. So in this video I'm going to give you a quick peek of behind the scenes of my business and what I did and the systems that I put in place to be able to create anywhere from 8 to 10 books per month. And in full disclosure, I just want to say that that volume approach doesn't really work anymore in 2019, and it's not really necessary if you want to create a six-figure income, and that you can actually do it with a whole lot less books, and in anywhere as little as 5 to 10 books you can create a six-figure income. And there's a specific strategy that I recommend that you use, and I'm going to go over that in the next video, because what I found was in the past couple of years is that the 80-20 rule is alive and well in Kindle publishing, where 20% of the books that I created and had written created over 80% of the income for my business. So I was able to really look at what strategies were working and what wasn't working, and so that's what I'm going to show you in the next video. But the great thing is what I'm going to show you in this video, as far as the systems that I had in place to keep everything organized, works regardless of whether you have one book or whether you have 10 books or whether you have 20 books. And it really just helps to keep things flowing and really efficient, and it sets you up for bringing in a publishing manager and someone to come in and help you to take over the business, so you're not doing everything. And when you have somebody come in and help you do a lot of those tasks, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to do more for your business, or you're going to be able to create more free time for your business and be more hands-off. So that is what I'm going to show you today. The program that I use called Trello.com, you might have heard of it. And so what I'm going to do right now is take you in the back office of my Trello board and show you what I did. What you're looking at here is what I call my Kindle book creation board. And if you're familiar at all or you're not familiar with Trello, then Trello allows you to create all different kinds of boards so that you can keep different projects organized. And you can use it, and I use it as a to-do list as well. I have all kinds of different boards for all different kinds of projects. I really do like it. What I really love about Trello over other project management software is that it is very visual and it allows you to see exactly where you are in the project. And so it's very visual in that way, and that is really important to me because I can come in here at any time and I know just by a glance where I am in the book creation process. So just to show you real quick, because when you get started with Trello, you're not going to have any boards, but I'll show you real quick how you can create your first board. Just come over here where you see the plus sign, go ahead and click on Create Board, and then you're going to need to name it, and it'll give you some backgrounds that you can use, and then just go ahead and Create Board. Okay, so just to show you how I've set up this, this is basically what you're looking at is a workflow. Okay, and it starts with a book idea, which is the keyword, and then it ends with the book creation and promotion, and it moves all the way across this process from left to right. And it's a very linear, kind of in a chronological order. So each one of these columns is what you would call a list. So you would create all of these lists going all the way across, and they're going to be at different points in your project. And then when you go down vertically, you're going to add what's called a card. Each one of these is a card. And how you add another card. So let's just say that I'm adding another book idea. And generally how I come up with my book ideas is that I will do about 2 hours of research, keyword research, and I'll come up with any keywords I'll put here, and any titles that I create from the keywords I'll put here. And I'll just go ahead and add another card. So let's just say that I was thinking about writing a book on ketogenic diet for beginners. Okay, then just go ahead and click on Add Card. Okay, and then these cards will actually open up. You can see the back side of these cards, and I'll go over those in a second. So once you fill out and you have a whole bunch of book ideas, The next part of the process is I will outline the book intro and the chapters before sending it off to my writers. And this is something that I like to take charge of myself. So what you can do is these are all drag and drop. So you would just drag this in the next part of your process and next part of your workflow here, which is outline the book. So then I know at this point in the project what I'm doing is I'm outlining the book, or I'm in the process of outlining the book chapters. And so I'll do all my research here, and how I do my research is I'll read articles and I'll get information from different kinds of books. I'll put it all together, and then I ship all of that information off to my writer. Okay, and I don't recommend actually that you use a writing company. I have tried several of those, and I've been disappointed every single time. They never really pay attention to all the work that I've done with the research, and the writing most times is really, it's crap. It's really bad. So where I get my writers is on Upwork, and you may have to go through a few before you find some good writers. But if you're writing a few books at a time, you're going to want to have a few different writers so you can keep your projects moving along. And so the next part of the process is I'll just move this over here, and once I assign it to a writer, and you can see I'll put names next to the different books so I can keep track of who's writing what book. And then I know it's in the book. The book is in the process of being written. Now at the same time, I don't have to wait for my ebook cover to be made. I can actually start working on that, or you can wait till the book is done and move it over to here. And so what I do with the ebook covers is I don't just have the graphic artist come up with the idea. I will go into canva.com, which I've showed you before, and I'll do what's called a prototype of my cover. So I don't really trust the graphic designers to come up with the idea, because it never really matches the vision that I had for the book. But you can come in here and create your own book cover, and it allows me to pick out the kind of picture that I want for it, the kind of text that I want, and how I kind of vision the book to look like. And so what I'll do is once you create your book in here, you can download your prototype. Oops. You can download your prototype, and let's see, here's some different book covers. These aren't my books, by the way. These are just ones that I borrowed from Canva, so you can get an idea how I work this process. So you can just download either from the graphic designer. Now I use Fiverr. Fiverr people do a great job. As long as you know what you want your book cover to look like, and you can give them some really clear directions on what you're looking for, they do a wonderful job. Just don't leave it up to them to come up with the idea, because chances are you're not going to like it. It's not going to be the best quality. So really come up with your own vision for your book. But what I like to do is I like to have the book cover on the front here so I can continue watching the process, and it just makes it more visual and tangible when I can see the book cover moving across each one of these points in the workflow. So how I get the book cover in there is what you do is you open up the back of the card, and all you need to do to open the back of the card is just go ahead and click on the card, and then you see all of these different items that come up in the card. Okay, and the two main things that I use is one is the attachment. So if you want to have your book cover on the front so you can watch it go across the workflow, just go ahead and click on the attachment and go to the download that you did from Canva on your desktop. Go find your book, open it up, and then it will be on the front. And then you can move your book all around. So I really, really love that. I love the visual part of it. And then the next part that I use on this is once we get up to the point where I usually will handle these first three parts of the workflow, and then after that I had a publishing manager that I let do the rest of the workflow. So I had a checklist for her that I had created, and the way you would go ahead and create a checklist is just go ahead and click on checklist. You go ahead and name your checklist. And you can pick from previous checklists, which is what I did. I created one checklist, and if I go ahead and click on that and add it, it'll add the previous checklist that I have. So that you don't have to keep recreating this checklist every single time. Okay, and this keeps everything really organized so you don't forget anything. So the first thing in the process that she would take care of is she would actually be the one who ordered the ebook covers for Kindle, for the ebook, for the paperback, and for ACX, which is Audible. And I recommend, even if you're not getting the Audible, the narration done right away for Audible, that you have them create that book cover anyway, because it's going to be cheaper for you, because they're already creating the other two. It's going to be cheaper for you than to go back later on and get that book cover created for your Audible. So you might as well get it done all at once. Then once that is finished and she's go ahead and order that, we get that back. We're going to go ahead and check that. Puts a nice line through everything so you know that's completed. Again, visual. And the next part of the process is sign the book for proofing. So we use Upwork we have several proofers on Upwork that we use. And I would recommend that you go through at least 2 proofings of your book. One is not enough. The one thing that you want to make sure is that your book does not have any kind of spelling errors, anything like that. It would really kill your book. It's the #1 fatality of many books is spelling errors. So make sure, I would recommend that you put it through 2 rounds of proofing. Okay, and my publishing manager was actually an editor, so she would actually edit the book, make sure there weren't run-on sentences and everything sounded right, and so she would actually edit the book for me too. If not, you can go ahead and hire an editor from Upwork. Okay, and for the proofing, it's a little more expensive for the editor, but for the proofing, it's really fairly cheap. You can find some really good proofers out there. That's what they do all day, and it's really not expensive at all. So go ahead and click off those 2 things. And then next in the process, we would format the book for Kindle and paperback. And this was done again by my publishing manager. So she would do that. And you can hire someone. I recommend that you do not get involved with doing this. I mean, if you have to and you absolutely have to bootstrap this and you don't have the money to do it, then yes, I mean, go ahead and do it. But if you can, it's not that expensive. There's so many good people out there that this is what they do every day. It doesn't take them, they can have it back to you in 2 hours. Your book ready for upload to Kindle and for paperback. So I recommend that you outsource that again to Upwork. And then the next part of the process is you want to upload your proofed book to Kindle as a draft, and that my publishing manager would do that. I would have her stop at that point, and I would not really want her to publish the book until I looked at it. So that was my part in the process where I would come, make sure that everything looked good before we actually published the book. Just make sure there's no mistakes. So go ahead and click off that. And then she would look up the main 7 keywords. So you're going to have 7 main keywords for your ebook, and I think it's 10 keywords for your paperback. And she would look up the 7 main keywords that we're going to put in the book. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then the next part is she would prepare the book description. And the book description, I'll show you a book here. This is actually a really good book. If you have not read this one, I highly recommend it. But the book description, is going to be right here. And it needs to be in HTML format to come out looking right. So you can put in bold and italics. You can really make a really good book description. Okay, and so what we would do for the book description too is I'd kind of repurpose it from parts of the intro that we prepared for the book, and when you create the back of the book, you're going to need the information on the back of the book. So it was kind of a combination of both of those is how I would do, and a little bit of copywriting added in there because you want to be able to sell the book. So you want to have a little bit of copywriting in there so the book sells. And then the next part, once we're finished all of that, we're going to be ready to publish the book. And we're going to go ahead and publish the book. Of course, that's after we put the pricing in there and a couple other things that's part of Kindle publishing. But that's all part of that. This check mark here, checking this part off the list, is actually publishing the book and doing all that. Then the next task is to sign. We would have a VA assigned to get us anywhere between 5 and 10 reviews. We would price the book at 99 cents. And part of the reason why we would, that's one of the first things that we did was because the next part would be we would schedule for the 5-day free book promotion that you're allowed on Kindle. And a lot of times those free book promotion websites where you would submit your book to, they like 7 days in advance. or 3 to 5 days, but they always, most of them want some kind of an advance. So first thing and they also want to see that you have a couple of reviews. Some will require 3 reviews, some are going to require that you have 10 reviews in order to get on their site. So the more reviews that you can get for your book, the more book sites that you'll be able to get your book on. And I would go ahead and check those off. And then I would assign, once we scheduled that in Kindle, we would have the dates. We were ready to give this to our VA to submit the book to all the promotional websites. And I would recommend that you do not do this yourself. It is so time consuming, very time consuming. And you can find someone on Upwork again, very cheap. You can get each book submitted to about 20 to 30 sites for about $5. On Upwork. There's a lot of great people in the Philippines. I love hiring in the Philippines. They speak really good English. There's a lot that are qualified, and this is what they do all day. And so they're very familiar with it, and they can get it done very quickly. So I recommend that you don't spend the time doing this and that you outsource that as well. So go ahead and check that off. And then the next thing, once all that's being done, actually in the process, I will go ahead and research more keywords. I will research about 100 keywords because I plan to put this on AMS, which is Amazon Marketing Services. And the reason why I get 100 keywords, I know that sounds excessive, but with this is something I actually do more recently. I didn't used to do this in the past, but they didn't have this marketing service available either. So the reason why you want to put 100 keywords is because that most of them will do nothing on Amazon Marketing Services. They won't get any views. Probably about, I would say, even 80-20 rule doesn't even apply here. It's probably just maybe 20 or 20, maybe 20 keywords will get some action, but most of them are not going to get any action, and you're not going to know what they are unless you put all the keywords in. So how do I come up with 100 keywords? Well, I don't recommend that you try to come up with them on your own. I use a couple different sites. One of them that you can use is called KDP, well, this was called KDP Rocket. I guess now it's called Publish Rocket. And this is a software that you can use. It's $97, but the great thing about this is it's a one-time fee. But it really allows you to create all kinds of keywords. It's really simple to do, and it'll just, you can use it for all your books. So, but the one that I was using was called, let me see if I can find it here, Helium 10 is another way to find a lot of keywords for your book. But this is way more expensive, but they do have a free service. But let me show you how that works. I think they allow you to have X amount of searches. So you can actually try this out for free. So for their zero plan, they'll give you 20 uses, or you can just pay, otherwise it's expensive if you get it monthly. It's $97 a month. But you can get 20 uses for free. And the one that I use is called Cerebro. All of these are actually within Helium 10. These are just different programs that run for keywords and things like that. But Cerebro is the one I look because what it does is a reverse ASIN lookup. And so you would just, if you found a book that was similar to yours, you would take their ASIN number and you would plug this into Cerebro and it would give you all their keywords. So it's kind of like spying, and it would come up with hundreds of keywords, and they'll come up with their top keywords for that book. So you can do it in one click and find all the keywords that you need. It's really worth it. It's really helped me a lot. I have several books that are doing really, really well since I've started them on Amazon Marketing Services, and it's really picked up sales a great deal. So I highly recommend that. Okay, so next on the list is you want to promote your book on AMS. Okay. So that is the entire process here that I would have my publishing manager complete. And then on the front side of that, as each one of those items and tasks were being completed, we would move the book physically across each part of the workflow here. So as it was being edited and proofed, I could come in at any time and visually see that the book that we're working on is being proofed, and then as we got that back and it was proofed, it would be ready for formatting and for upload. And then we would move it all the way across to set up our free promotion. And then when that was finished, we would get our reviews, and we'd go on our 5-day promotion, and then we would reprice our book and get additional reviews. And then once all that's finished, we would set our book up for a 3-month promotion archive. So you know that Kindle will allow you every 3 months to go put your book for free promotion, and you could submit it to all of those book submission sites, promo sites again. And that will just keep your book ranking really high. The more downloads that you get for your book and the more reviews that you get for your book, the higher your book is going to rank. So you want to keep doing that. And so we would move it over here, and then we would know that all these books need to be scheduled for a 3-month promotion, and then it helps us to not forget about them. Okay, so that is basically the process that I used. I know a lot of different publishers will use other software like Teamwork and Asana, and while they're great, I really like Trello a lot because, like I said, it's visual, it's free, and it really did everything that I needed it to do. The only complaint that I really had about Trello is that the platform for the communication wasn't so great. I've had better communications. It's kind of it's not as good if you're staying in touch with your publishing manager, and if you have a lot of VAs that you want to invite in and see where they're at and communicate with them. I didn't think that it did as well for that. But as far as keeping all of your information organized and schedulized and knowing where you're at any point in the process, it did a bang up job for that. So that was it. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, do me a favor and just leave me a comment, or if you have any questions, just leave them down below in the comment box. And next week what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going over how you can actually create a 6-figure income from just, you don't need to do volume like I was doing when I first got started. You can actually create a 6-figure income for a lot less books, so anywhere from between 5 and 10 books if you do the strategy correctly. And I'm going to show you that in the next video. So, alright guys, well that was it. I hope you liked it. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye.